Guys, welcome back to another episode of Imperial Diecast, and today we are going to be taking a look at a very special Lamborghini Huracan. Almost 2 years ago, I reviewed the original Huracan, the LP610-4 in 1/24 scale by Maisto, and you will find that video linked at the end of this one. And that was the stock one. This Huracan, however, is the track-only 1/32 scale 2019 Supertrofeo Evo. Despite its smaller size, this actually has more opening parts than the 1/24 Maisto Huracan. And not only that, but it also comes with raised windows, which is super impressive for 1/32 scale. And I got this car from AliExpress China. Took a few weeks to arrive, but here it is. And the main reason why I purchased it was due to the livery. I mean, it looks stunning. And the only thing that's wrong with the livery is that for copyright reasons, they misspelled a couple of things. Because on the sunstrip, the tail fin and the rear spoiler, it says Roger Dubuis, which is a misspelling of Roger Dubuis. And as I was researching the car, I initially thought that Roger Dubuis was the race car driver, but it's not. It's actually the name of a watch company, which also explains the elaborate watch designed on this car's hood. And it's not just any watch, but the Excalibur Huracan Performante offered by the Roger Dubuis company, of which only 88 were made. And this is a watch that has a price tag of 52,500 euros. And Roger Dubuis has been a partner of Lamborghini's racing division, the Squadra Corse, since 2017. So it was only fair that they would dedicate a unique livery to their sponsor. And that's what they did with this Huracan Supertrofeo Evo. This particular car is called the 2019 Collector's Edition. A much more famous Huracan Supertrofeo Evo livery is the grey one, which you saw in the intro. And Chimei model, the company that made this livery, also made the car in that grey one. And both look cool, but ultimately I went for this black one. So without any more further ado, let's begin the review by taking a closer look at this car's front. So taking a look at the front of the 1/32 scale Lamborghini Huracan Supertrofeo Evo, this is where you will notice that I made a change to the headlights of this model, because on these stock images, or these product photos, you can see that the headlights do not have the distinct Y-shaped DRLs. And that's because this car comes with light and sound, and they actually have like a bulb in there which glows when you turn on the lights by opening the doors and, of course, making sure that there's a battery inside the car. That's the reason why they didn't design that, but I just felt like the car lacked something. So what I did was I simply printed out the Huracan's LEDs on a sheet of paper in the right size, and I cut it, and then I used some paper glue and stuck those two decals where the headlights are. And from a distance, I think that they look really convincing. And this is a trick that I've done on my Koenigseggs as well, to make them look better. So it always works. It's just absolutely amazing. With that being said, the rest of the livery at the front does look very impressive, because these headlights are surrounded by this yellow trim. And that yellow trim also runs along the center, like a straight line. And in the center we also have the Lamborghini logo, with the bull and the crest and everything. And below that it says Pertamax Turbo, I think. Typical for the Supertrofeo version of the Huracan are these two air vents on the hood that are pretty distinct. And then there's also another vent here in the center, And on the real Huracan Supertrofeo, this is where there'd be a grille. But of course, on this 132 scale car, it doesn't exist. With that being said, we also have a front splitter. And just like on the real car, the manufacturer, Chimei model, also provided us with this yellow trim that runs along the front splitter and makes it look good. And if you pay close attention, you will see that we also have these two flaps or compartments, I guess. I don't know what exactly exists inside. Maybe a tow hook or something. But it has also been designed on this model. And right next to it, it says Pirelli. Now, there is one problem that my particular model has. And that is, if you take a look at the front wheels, they are connected by a wheel axle. And that axle is too long. So you can see how much this particular wheel here is jutting out. And if I try to fix that, pushing it in, it basically protrudes on the other side of the model. And I tried pushing it in from both sides to see if that's going to somehow make the wheel sit further in, but it didn't work, so I'm kind of stuck with this problem. So I can only display the model well from one angle, but I cannot do so from the other angle, which kind of sucks, right? Like if I do it this way, then I'm going to have the problem on the other side. Now, I don't know if other models also suffer from a similar issue or if it's just my model, but that's the only real issue I have with this model. And this is about as far as the boot opens. However, it doesn't stay that way. It just sort of falls down a little. And inside, there's really not a whole lot to see. It's got a little compartment there. No real space to store anything. But it's still nice that the front trunk of this 132 scale Huracan actually does open. So yeah, let's close this up and take a look at the rest of the car. On the fenders above the front wheels, you can see these louvers that help air escape to increase downforce. And here's a look at the side of the Lamborghini Huracan Supertrofeo Evo. And you can see that there's a lot of details here for a 132 scale diecast model because, first of all, we have this beautiful livery, which has this geometric yellow diamond-shaped pattern, both over the front fender as well as behind the rear fender. As for the door, interestingly, here they did not misspell the name because it actually says Roger Dubuis like it's supposed to. Whereas on the spoiler and then on this tail fin here, as well as on the sunstripe, they did misspell it. So I don't know why they provided us with the proper version here. Of course, they also did misspell Pertamina because it's actually supposed to be M-I-N-A instead of I-M-N-A. Fastron is written properly, and of course this is the number 63 car. And now let's take a closer look at the wheels. So these are done pretty well. I mean, you have the bronze-colored rims. You have 5 lug nuts, although on the center lock it does not have the Lamborghini logo. We also get ventilated brake discs and brake calipers. However, the caliper moves with the brake disc, which is not that cool. And then we get branded tires, and it actually says Pirelli instead of Pirelli. And it says P-Zaio instead of P0. So those are the small ways how the manufacturer avoids any kind of legal issues with the brand. But from a distance, you can't really tell. And here's a look at the rear wheel. And then up here on the spoiler, it says P0. And the misspelled name of the watch manufacturer. And over here, we have a little indentation for the fuel cap. And now let's take a look at the back. And as we move along to the back, you will notice that we have these huge and perforated rear louvers on the rear engine bay cover, which look pretty cool because they're perforated. And the back of the Huracan Supertrofeo Evo looks pretty interesting. I mean, what's missing here is that the actual car's livery has a yellow trim running along this particular edge here, which is missing on the model. However, we do get the rear exhausts, which are here in the middle, and some of the engine, which is painted in silver. You can see through. The taillights are up here, although they don't have any red paint on them, so they're quite hard to see. However, they do light up when you put batteries in this car and open the doors or press on the trunk. And that's about it. Now let's check out the engine. And the rear engine bay cover lifts up this way. It stays up, which is good. And now as we check out the engine, you can see it's a pretty plain engine. And so as we check out the engine, you can see that it has very little details. I mean, it is so smooth. There's like no carbon fiber texture or anything. You can see the engine blocks. They do have some white lines on them, but the Lamborghini branding is missing on them. And on the real car, this would be a 5.2-liter V10, naturally aspirated, of course, delivering 621 horsepower, which is about 11 more than the standard Huracan. But yeah, still nice that the rear engine bay opens. And now let's close this up. And now as we check out the interior of the Huracan Supertrofeo Evo, there is really not much going on here. I mean, it's a very bare bones interior, unpainted. The doors, in fact, even have like a big screw. I don't know if you can see that, like right there. I don't know why. Probably hold the glass in place. However, if you look at those air vents right there in the middle, the top of those air vents is actually highlighted in silver, just like the front of the dashboard and the surround of the instrument binnacle. So those are some extra details that have been provided. And now if we check out the driver's side, you'll notice that the steering wheel isn't the conventional one, but the specific track-oriented race car steering wheel. And it even has a few buttons on it, although nothing is painted. We also don't have any stickers for the instrument panel. But right there you can see the center console with a few buttons. Nothing is painted, but at least it's there. The seats also have this side bolstering, as well as some texture. That's about it. Pretty cool car. And now checking out the car's undercarriage, you can see that we have the battery compartment right there in the middle. Requires AG13 1.5 volt batteries, 3 of them. It's not a whole lot of detail. But up here, it says made in China, Chimei model. I think you can read that. That's about it. Alright guys, I hope you liked the review of this fully opening 1/32 scale diecast Huracan Supertrofeo Evo in the 2019 Collector's Edition livery. Be sure to follow me on Instagram. It's imperial_diecast. I currently have 190 followers there, and it would be awesome if you could help me reach 200. Take care. Have a wonderful day. This is Imperial Diecast signing out.